readers, I'm Jessie Quinn from Copa Books, and today we're talking about Falling into Place by Amy Zhang. Falling into Place by Amy Zhang is a contemporary young adult's novel about a teenager named Liz Emerson who one day intentionally decides to crash her car because she wants her death to look like an accident. Now that may sound like a huge spoiler, but it's not. We're told this on the very first page. Now this isn't the first young adult's book that deals with the topic of depression and suicidality, but what makes this book stand out to me is the way the story is actually told. It's told in a very non-linear fashion. Throughout the novel we're sort of piecing together this story because it's told out of order, and I really liked that. I also liked the fact that the narrator in this one, the narrator goes unnamed for most of the story. You don't actually know who is narrating until almost the end. For me personally, I'm not sure I'm 100% satisfied with who the narrator ended up being, but I did like the fact that we weren't told who the narrator was initially, and it gave this novel a really unique atmosphere. Almost all the characters in this novel are incredibly flawed people, and it's difficult to empathize with them. Liz Emerson in particular has done some really terrible things, both to people she doesn't like and to people who she really cares about. And she's done these things intentionally, deliberately trying to cause harm. We also get to see these moments where she does do incredibly nice things, where she tries to stand up for people, these moments of compassion. If you're a reader who feels you have to like a character to enjoy a book, you may not want to pick this one up. As for me personally, I like books about incredibly flawed people. I like books that explore human beings' potential to cause harm and havoc in the world, as well as their potential to do good, and I think this book sort of explores both sides. This novel tries to cover a lot of topics in a very short amount of time, and as such, some of those topics are handled more successfully than others. I think for the most part, Liz Emerson's story is handled really well. It's just some of the side characters' stories and struggles, there's just not enough time devoted to them. Another complaint of mine, and it's kind of a big complaint, is that there is an unrequited love interest in this novel. Honestly, nothing quite bugs me like an unnecessary romantic subplot, particularly an unnecessary heterosexual romantic subplot, because there's enough of those in the world. I understand what the author was attempting to do with having this unrequited love interest in the story. He's there to tell us that we should live every day as if it's our last, and that when we care about someone, we should tell them because we never know what's going on inside the other person's head. And however, with this particular story and this particular romantic subplot, it does at times veer into love will save the day territory. I don't think this is intentional, but there's these lines every now and then. Even though I don't feel this novel had any business having a romantic subplot, particularly a romantic subplot that didn't really add much to the story, and even though some of the topics this book talks about were dealt with better than others, I actually really liked Falling into Place. If you're a reader who enjoyed 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher or The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, I think you would also like Falling into Place. Not because those books are very similar in plot, but because those books also have similar narration techniques in that they're narrated in really interesting ways. I'm not sure if this book warrants 4 stars out of 5. It's more like 3.5, 3.75 stars out of 5, but I did find it incredibly compelling and I could not put it down while I was reading it. And it's been a really long time since I've had a book that I've just been glued to, so this was a good pick for me. Some readers feel that in order to enjoy a book, they have to relate to the